consciously to hurt the feelings of Sanatanis, or it is the greed of the management, the government in the sense, or it's the greed of the manufacturer, both the government, both the leaders, the management, or everyone is involved. So with this definition of leader, you can remove all of them. Whether it was a conspiracy. In deity worship, there are two important things. My talk would be basically in terms of prasadam. What is prasadam? What does Shastra say about prasadam? Ours is a kitchen religion. Ours is a food religion. What will happen to those millions of faithful, ardent devotees of Balaji who ate that laddu contaminated with unwanted stuff? Hare Krishna. Welcome to Transcendental Thursday. Today we're going to speak about the event which has led to pain of millions of Hindus, the controversy of Tirupati Laddu. Before we understand this sacred laddus being desecrated or in that sense misled or poisoned, we'll take the blessings of Srila Prabhupada to understand the whole controversy which has hurted the sentiments of thousands and millions of Balaji devotees. One prasadam, which is world famous, all across the globe, people would cherish and relish to savor that prasad is of Tirumala Venkatramana Swami Balaji's Laddu Prasad. The recent news has caused a lot of pain to millions of devotees who revere the Laddu, who just visit Tirupati Balaji just to have that Laddu. They do not have even darshan of their Lord, but they would love to have the Laddus. That was the sentiment and emotional attachment what they have for Laddu, especially Tirupati Laddu. And as you all know, the lab reports have come and the current Chief Minister announced that for last 5 years, the kind of ghee which was used, the kind of clarified butter which was used for production of this laddu was tainted or mixed with low-grade ghee. So much so that beef oil was used, fish oil was used to adulterate the ghee. Normally, a kilo of ghee would cost you in the market 1,000 to 2,500 rupees. On the auction, they got it 350 rupees or less than 400 rupees. And one particular organization was chosen to supply the ghee. Now here we should understand a lot of things are there. What is discussed in the news channel, I don't want to go into that. Whether it was a conspiracy, yes, it should be, it might be, fair enough, true. To hurt the feelings, consciously to hurt the feelings of Sanatanis from people belong to some other faith. That's what the media, in certain sect of media are addressing, because the former chief minister happened to be from a different faith. Or it is the greed of the suppliers, or it is the greed of the management, the government in the sense, to produce goods at a low price and get the same revenue. Or it's the greed of the manufacturer. At the end of the day, it's the mismanagement done by the leaders. Now there's another group saying that the temple should be controlled by the devotees, the people who profess the faith. In first instance, the government took over the temple under the government control, because those who were taking care of the temple, the trustees, were themselves looting the money of the temple, and that's why government has to intervene and take over the temple. Like that, it's a common affair, not only in temple, other places of worship too. Those who are taking care of it, they exploit it. So here, both the government, both the leaders, the management, or everyone is involved. It is also heard that during the previous chief minister's father, when he was also the chief minister, this has happened. And when the employees there also complained about the low quality ghee and the ingredients used, they were removed, or they were asked to not to further escalate, and so forth. Now, my point of discussion would be based on not what is been talked about in the media. My talk would be basically in terms of prasadam. The deities, the leaders, how they have to behave, and how, when the devotees are actually involved, the real devotees, when they're actually involved, how the standard of worship can be enhanced. What is prasadam? How actually it should be prepared? What does Shastra say about prasadam? And what Prabhupada established as the way to offer prasadam, the way to consume prasadam, and the significance of prasadam. And finally, the question which are all haunting: what will happen to those millions of faithful, ardent devotees of Balaji who ate that Laddu contaminated with unwanted stuff? All these questions I'll try to answer one by one. Now, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Evam parampara praptam imam rajarasho viduho. I instructed this knowledge to sun god Vivaswan, and he instructed to his son, then his son Manu and Ikshvaku. And the same knowledge I am repeating to you, Arjuna. Now here, Krishna mentioned the name of these three personalities because they were exalted leaders. And Arjuna is supposed to be exalted leader. And Krishna is training him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So unless and until the leader is of a good character, self-controlled, adhering to the scriptures, guided by intellectual class of men, and a devotee of the Lord, one cannot be an ideal leader. So with this definition of leader, you can remove all of them who are unfortunately ruling all of us, all across the globe. That's the nature of Kali Yuga. Leaders plays a very vital role. Yad yad acharati shreshta tat tat evataro jana. Whatever a great man does, Krishna elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita says, common man follows. They illuminate, they follow their standards which they practice. So leader has to be a first class devotee of the Lord. That is Parikshit Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj, Lord Ramachandra, all the Supreme Lord. He acted like a perfect king who followed the scriptures. So leader should know who the Supreme Lord is. Leader should know how to worship the Supreme Lord, how to himself set a standard. And not only that, he should institutionalize, he should pass the laws and legislations so that people at large can follow his own example and follow the directions of the scriptures, and they advance in Krishna consciousness. That used to be original Sanatana leaders. But unfortunately in Kali Yuga, thanks to the rapid degradation of Sanatana culture and not adhering to the scriptural injunctions, not having sufficient devotees, to guide and nurture and preach, we have come to this level. So leader has to be of that category. So, and Prabhupada wanted, wherever he used to go, he used to appeal to the people at large to take up Krishna consciousness. And particularly, if there is a leader who is hearing his class, he would appeal to them to take Krishna consciousness seriously, to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and make sure that everyone gets prasadam. These three principles, he tells, if they adopt this few principles of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, having prasadam, and congregationally together chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that will transform the entire state. The entire state would be prosperous, people will be happy, they will be driven away from the unwanted habits and nasty practices and lifestyle. So a leader should be there. Unfortunately, in this case, the leader is of not that category. So we should aspire to choose a leader who is a devotee of Krishna. This is the first lesson. If you choose a leader of a devotee category, then we'll be avoiding such things. And second point is, everything in existence belongs to Supreme Lord, Krishna, Balaji or Govinda. So the best of the things should be offered to the Supreme Lord. The best in quality, the best in color, best in texture, best in all sense should be offered to the Supreme Lord. It should be first class offering. And the Lord is so merciful. After accepting all those offering, He gives it back to us as prasadam. Anything we use in existence, what you see and what you don't see, are all creation of the Lord. The process to understand who the Supreme Lord is, after that, we should clearly offer everything in the service of the Lord. And that will purify our own existence and the existence of those things. In that way, we will purify ourselves and make ourselves qualified to attain real happiness and satisfaction. This will bring a revolution. But unfortunately, in the Kali Yuga, people, a majority of them are atheists, and those who are interested, inclined towards spiritual life are being cheated by so many so-called religious institutions and thugs. And people also want to be cheated because they want something very cheap. So in such scenarios, to offer a genuine religious process is a important duty of every Indian. That genuine religious process or dharmic process in Kali Yuga is chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In Kali Yuga, to be frank and straightforward, from the sky to the air, to the fire, to the water, to the earth, our mind, our intellect, our ego, and everything which you see is actually contaminated. You don't get genuine, original things in Kali Yuga, except the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is such a pure thing, but anyone who chants, he might be the most impurest, contaminated personality. It will transform him. The classical example is Swami Prabhupada's transforming the hearts of these hippies who were living worse than animals. So, and then they becoming devotees and they offering the best thing to the Lord is the real transformation. They building temples for the Lord. They collecting Lakshmi for the service of the Lord. They distributing, printing books for propagating the message of the Lord, keeping the temples clean and neat, and encouraging people at large to take up Krishna consciousness. Just see the transformation. And if people at large are made, that will change the face of the world. And especially if the leaders take it up this seriously, and that will change the whole culture. As long as this doesn't happen, the sugar-coated so-called show of religious symptoms will be going on. But in reality, the real transformation will not happen. That's why it's imperative for us to create a generation of people who are devotees of Krishna. And that's the duty of Indians. And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants Bharata Bhumila Hoila Janma Yara Karo Janma Sartha Karo Paropakar. You have taken birth in Bharatavarsha. It's imperative for you to take your life seriously and making it Krishna conscious, and also simultaneously, vigorously preach this message. Pehle apani achar, first ourselves, then give it to others. But having said that, in Kali Yuga, everything is contaminated. As much as possible, we should always make sure the best thing is offered to Krishna. That's why Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakta pranashyati. If somebody offers me with love and devotion, that's the most important ingredient. Unless and until when somebody is a devotee of the Lord, Lord will not accept. Duryodhana offered him a big, elaborate 56 course menu to Krishna. Krishna didn't go there. On the contrary, he went to his devotee's house, Vidura, who happened to be but that doesn't stop him to become a devotee of the Lord. And he was taken aback that he didn't expect the Lord to come. And he received him properly with whatever he had, a bare mat. And he was offering banana to him. Not the banana, but the peel. He was discarding the banana, actual fruit, and giving the peel to the Lord in ecstasy. The Lord was consuming it, having it. That is the love which Krishna accepts. So if you don't offer it to Krishna and have it as the mercy of the Lord, as prasadam, we eat only sin. Because we consume sin, we perform sin. Because we perform sin, we suffer. Because we are suffering, the suffering continues because of a repetition of birth and death. We continue to sin further. And because of this ignorance, the sinning continues to happen. Jaisa an, vaisa man. That's why first class, top-notch food should be offered to the Lord. And it's not that Lord is going to keep it with him. And he is going to distribute. He is going to keep it as it is. He is such a wonderful personality. Lord is omnipotent, omnipresent. Angani yasya sakalendra vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalyanti chiram jaganti. Each anga, each limb of the Lord can perform activity of any other limb. Just by glancing, he can eat food. Just by glancing over the mother nature, he can impregnate with millions and trillions, unlimited number of souls. That is the potency of the Lord. My eyes can only see. It cannot eat. It cannot hear. It cannot smell. It cannot taste. But the Lord's eyes can do every activity of every other sense and much more than that. That is Lord for you. And Brahma gives us information in Brahma Samhita. And Krishna says you should offer it with love and devotion, a food of these 4 categories. So we are not vegetarians also, and we are not non-vegetarians also. We are prasadarians. If it is offered to Krishna, Krishna has accepted it, we consume it. It is as simple as that. Prasadam is something with love and devotion. When it is offered to Krishna, Krishna accepts. Whatever Krishna accepts, we accept. And Tirupati Laddu was one such special offering which was made to be offered to the Lord. And was distributed as mass prasadam. And here, the quality was compromised. For greedy purpose, for hurting consciously, unconsciously, or there's a mismanagement, whatever might be the reason, it has happened. Now, what about directly jumping to that question which most of you would have? Should we as devotees who has consumed the Laddu be worried? Did we consume papa for that? Because consuming such obnoxious things, we don't do it generally. Mass of the people. intense Gora Papa karma will come upon each and every individual who is responsible for this. Knowingly or unknowingly, Balaji will not spare them. How it will happen, when it will happen, to what degree it will happen, whether I and you will be able to see it in front of us, we don't have to worry about it. Lord has His own sweet timing, when and then He'll do the needful. So they're going to suffer because it has hurt the sentiments of millions of devotees who rever prasadam. Even after knowing that next 3-4 days after the controversy broke, 14 lakh laddus were distributed. So that's the kind of faith people have. When you abuse the faith of those millions of people, you get it back. As you sow, so shall you reap. Whether it is management or the government or the TTD employees or whoever is involved in it, we don't know who is involved, who is telling the truth. Lord knows the truth and He will deal with it accordingly. So Lord is Bhavagrahi Janardana. He accepts the mood of His devotees. He was accepting the mood and the consciousness of Vidura, not what was actually offering. That is secondary. But still, when we know that we are offering to the Lord, it should be first class. Prabhupada taught us everything which is offered to Krishna should be first class. Kitchen should be maintained of top-notch cleanliness. In deity worship, there are two important things: timeliness and cleanliness. What, in spite of all the contamination which is available in Kali Yuga, whatever is best available, best possible available, we'll offer to Krishna. In the food in these 4 categories. Then we take it as prasadam. Now, those devotees who have consumed it, but they have to worry? They don't have to worry, because devotees who in good faith have honored the laddus as Lord's merciful prasadam will not be liable for any papa. Because the mood in which they took, Krishna knows it, Balaji knows it. They still deservedly get the blessings and benefit of Lord Venkateshwara. Because they've been tricked into it or cheated into it. So that should be very carefully taken care as temples where we must distribute prasadam. The cleanliness of the temple, the cleanliness of the kitchen, the cook, we should be very careful. Prabhupada always emphasized on those things. So we should take this experience as a warning, so that we also should become careful about how the quality of ingredients what we get from outside should also be lab checked. Because so many ingredients which come to our temple also would be manufactured from the third party, correct? Everything cannot be grown in our own farms. That's why Prabhupada always emphasized on farm communities. Don't depend on anyone else. Depend on Krishna. Have your own clothing, own food, and nicely offer bhoga to the Lord and have it as prasadam, and live a simple life and high thinking life. But those who are there in the city where we have to depend upon the third party, make sure that we verify. So anything such happens, we should care up ourselves, and this is how material world is. This is how it is designed. Always there will be lacuna, there will be shortcoming, there will be challenges. But within those challenges and lacunas, we should work out together that the best thing is offered to the Lord with the right attitude, with right emotion and sentiment, and with right shastric understanding. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita said, if you eat food which is not offered to Krishna, we eat sin only. That's why in every corner of India, even today, temples are meant for these two purposes. Glorification of the Lord by kirtana, by deity worship, and propagating the message of Krishna consciousness. And second is, after that, the sumptuous prasadam is fed based on the ability of the temple to provide. But everyone who comes to the temple will get a morsel of prasad. Prabhupada, many times he instructed to his temple leaders, Radharani is responsible for the kitchen. She is the Lakshmi, Adi Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi, source of all Lakshmis. She will provide unlimited, provided you are ready to manage those things in a proper way. So Prabhupada instructed that everyone who comes to temple should get a prasadam. Either they purchase or they get free prasadam, whatever is in your own capacity, you should give. In fact, so much so that in one place Prabhupada says that they should hand over the temple to us, the temple which we are talking about. We'll manage it nicely. So these things has to be done, and when you consume prasadam, the transformation happens very swiftly. The prasadam may be as sweet as Tirupati Laddu. Prasadam may not be sometimes when you cook it and offer it, but still prasadam, it is spicy, not spicy. Prasadam is prasadam. So when you honor it, the transformation will happen. But if you like one particular prasadam and over it, you will have the difficulty. Of course, the material aspect of the overeating will be definitely acting on your body, but the spiritual benefit of consuming prasadam will definitely transform. But with love and devotion, you should offer. With love and devotion, remember, it's not just a mere ritual that simply you keep in front of the Lord and the Lord will consume it. No. And there's a beautiful pastime of Lord Alarnath in Jagannath Puri, where the Brahmana had a son and every day used to offer boga and have it as prasadam. For a few days he had to go out. So he was instructed by his father to offer food to the Lord and take it as prasadam. Simple as that. So this innocent boy, this is very common phenomenon everywhere. You heard this pastimes from many temples of South also, you would have heard this. So he used to offer food, and he offered food one day and he said, Lord, please have it. I'll go out and play and come, and meanwhile you take your time. So meanwhile the kid came back and the food is as it is. So he became a little annoyed. So you didn't eat, please have it. Next time I'll take some more time and peacefully have it. Second time he came, it's still not there. And third time he was, requesting, pleading, see, if you don't eat, father will scold me, mother will scold me, please have it, no. If you don't have it, no, I'll, like the innocent child with his all his finer innocence, he was requesting the Lord, and looking at the intense love of that kid, the Lord appeared out of the deity. As a deity, he was consuming what is offered to him, and he was very happy. When he came back, not a morsel of grain was left. And it went on like this. So mother thought this kid would have eaten himself after offering boga. So after a few days when his father came, the same thing happened because he wanted to see. He just continued to allow his son to do the same offering. And when he came out, there was no food. So then he said, where is the food? The father asked him. No, he ate. How can he eat? I don't believe this. So let me see how you yourself have eaten, and you're telling that Lord has eaten. Let me check out. So when the boy offered him when the Lord actually about to eat, the Brahmana came inside the altar and caught hold of his hand, saying that how can you eat this? If you eat all this which is offered to you, what can we eat? So that is a love which the boy offered, and the Brahmana which he didn't had, he doubted. Of course, although he didn't had the faith that Lord will personally come and eat it, but he gave a birth to a child who is such a great devotee that the Lord agrees to be called and would have it personally. And the Brahmana was such a great devotee also that he could catch hold of Krishna red hand, and that sweet rice which was offered to the Lord, it was a little warm, and that spilled over all over his body, a scar still on the deity of Alarnath. If you go to Jagannath Puri next time, you can see the scar also there. Alarnath, very close by. During Jagannath Puri trip, during Rath Yatra, for 14 days, the temple will be closed, and devotees generally go to Alarnath because they consider Alarnath to be not different than Jagannath. So the deity is a person. According to Indian Constitution, deity is a person, and deity can own property. Deity can have its own rights. That's why when the Allahabad court gave the verdict of Ram Janmabhoomi, I still remember the headlines. Ram Janmabhoomi, Ram Lalla ke naam. So deity is a personality. He's not a stone. He's not a wood. He's a personality. He is not different from the Supreme Lord. The pure devotee request him to come and take this form so that the devotees can be engaged in the seva of the Supreme Lord. Because he's Supreme Spirit. We cannot see even our own spirit. What to speak of seeing the Supreme Spirit? To allow us to see through this normal senses, eyes, and use our senses in his service, he appears in this Archa Vigraha. Archa Vigraha is non-different from the Supreme Lord. In this way, the spiritual master, the king, everyone in the society, based on their class and services, should be engaged in service of the Lord. Everyone. And that used to be culture. Every temple will have a small temple, and all the temples, so all the people in the village or town will be serving the temple, the Archa Vigraha in the temple, based on their natural instructions, based on their work and schedule and type of mentality and mode they have. And everyone gets benefit. You have Balaji temple, you have Govindeji temple in Jaipur, you have Sri Natadwar temple in Natadwar. Originally, that was the culture. The king would build a temple, he would engage everyone based on their class, caste, creed, in the service of the Lord, and everyone gets benefited. And anyone who goes to temple, everyone will get prasadam. That is the culture. Anywhere you should go and ask for prasadam. You should not be ashameful of asking for prasadam. And this prasadam, when mass of people consume it, because chanting Hare Krishna, Mahamantra, not everyone would do. But generally, by and large, people would, till date, at least they'll be happy with prasadam. And that's why Prabhupada said, I made this movement popular, not because of Hare Krishna, or not because of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. This movement became popular because of love feast. They came for love feast, not to hear me, or not for Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada knew the people in Kali Yuga are just like that. So he introduced this wonderful process of prasadam and kirtan and a little bit of philosophy. Ours is a kitchen religion. Ours is a food religion. So this is how Prabhupada spread this movement all across. So prasadam is very integral part of Hare Krishna movement. So we should honor prasadam. We should not devour prasadam. We are not prasada bhutas. We should honor prasadam, and we should offer prayers. The mode in which we offer prasadam should be Sharira Vidyachal. This body is nectar work of ignorance, and tongue is the most voracious sense. And the Lord has mercifully given his prasad to control this most voracious sense. If I can control my tongue, all other senses will follow. And the easiest process to control the tongue is one, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and second, having this prasadam. And this prasadam has been contaminated by the people of this Kali Yuga. So hence, if we take up Krishna consciousness seriously, and those who run the temple, manage the temple, should all be devotees. They all should be chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They all should be rising early in the morning. And temple should be a place of not only deity worship and distribution of prasadam. Temple should be a place where the message of Krishna consciousness is taught. That was the original purpose of the temples. And Britishers knew this. That's why they dismantled this temple structure. They dismantled this Gurukul system. They dismantled they created the divide in the society. Even before them, the Mughals, what did they do? They desecrated temples. They set temples on fire. They looted the temple valuables. So 800 years of Mughals rule, 200 years of Britishers rule, and the so-called atheistic, non-believer governments over a period of time, leaders who doesn't have faith, who are not of the category of the leaders which I mentioned. So the real aspect of Indian culture has been hurt. And it's a responsibility of Krishna conscious devotees to understand this valuable human form of life and preach the mass of people the importance of temple, importance of prasadam, importance of chanting of the holy name of the Lord. And if we Krishna conscious devotees who are watching this or others, if we take up this seriously by chanting ourselves, taking Krishna prasadam, reading Bhagavad Gita, and very interestingly, very practically, very attractively, if we present this Krishna consciousness to the world at large, people at large will change their heart, because the contamination in the heart will be changed when they consume prasadam and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we have to use the best ways and means to do it. And that's what Prabhupada says. And we should employ everything, prana, artha, diya, vacha, in their service. So with this small presentation, I would like to conclude. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.